So, good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming. So this is the first one of a set of 4 sessions around mindfulness. So over the last few weeks, I've been having a kind of think if there's a theme for the series, really. And I've decided just to keep it simple and suggest that it's mindfulness for growth. So that might be in any areas of our lives. It might just be a sense that we want to kind of grow in a particular way, in a different way. We just want to make the most of life wherever we're up to, which might not be the best place or might be a fantastic place. So it's a theme around growth. So these sessions are a little bit different than what I've been teaching previously, which is going to kind of go straight into a meditation, more or less. So there's a little bit of chat, a little bit about a suggestion of how you can bring mindfulness into your day, with the idea that hopefully you can start to try things out. So that's my suggestion. You don't have to do anything you don't feel comfortable with. So we've got around 40 minutes together, and these will be recorded so you can keep them, go back through them if you wish to. So mindfulness is a really ancient practice. It's not something that grew from the Western cultures. It's something that grew from Eastern cultures who had a very different kind of way of living, a very different way of life. And it's remarkable that they sustained themselves through millennium to actually come into modern life and be possibly much more known in modern world, particularly in the Western world, surprisingly, more recently. And what's happened to mindfulness is it's become very contemporary, and it's become almost at the forefront of development. So there's a lot of research into mindfulness. It's not this fluffy thing that we kind of just make up as we go along. It's well researched, well studied, and a lot of it's also been joined by positive psychology and by neuroscience. So a lot of the science and research has actually come through study of the brain and through further work through psychology. So it's a really interesting area if you kind of want to work that through the brain, if you like. Mindfulness is for most people these days, mindfulness includes compassion and the idea of both self-compassion and compassion for others. So it's very much value-based practice designed to help us and other people kind of nurture each other and the world. So it's a kind of, that can sound really really vague, but there are particular practices that work on how that might actually come into being. So each week I'm going to mention a kind of a myth about mindfulness. So you've all come here with the idea that you think you can give it a go or you think you might be interested in it. But I think what is quite common is people think, I can't do mindfulness because my mind's crazy. Already by now, you've already been thinking of lots of different things in addition to what I've been saying. Our mind darts off from one thought to another. And we're kind of looking around, our senses are kind of alert to any changes in the world. And that's what it's like to be a human being. So we can't stop that. And it's designed there. It's designed for us to be slightly unfocused so we can be on alert all the time, so we can avoid the kind of potential threat to our lives. You know, our brains are designed to keep us alive. So in that respect, it's a good thing that we're distracted. However, we want also to have periods where we can make choices, where we can actually concentrate, get engaged, and really kind of develop and enjoy and learn through stuff. So we all have that capacity, but we can grow it through mindfulness. So what I'm going to do, mindfulness has also often got kind of locked in this idea you have to sit and meditate, crossing your legs, of course, for hours, and it's not the case. Mindfulness can be full of lots of small micro practices, if you like, and those can be either something really good happens, you know, you find a joyful moment in the day, you know, the sun comes out, a flower comes out, a bird that you didn't expect comes along. You know, you get something from a friend that really fills you with joy. Those things just kind of happen. Those are just kind of, and we dwell just a little bit longer than we would ordinarily. We catch that moment, we hold on to that experience, and those just kind of come up in our daily lives, sometimes more often than others. But we can also create them. We can also invite them in and actually have a moment where we are giving our awareness, we are giving a sense of presence to the moment. And I'll kind of try and unpack that a little bit more. So in the introduction to the program, I sent you a few emails, and don't worry if you haven't had a chance to look at them. But what I suggested is you think of something that you do each morning, ideally, that you might be able to use as your mindful moment. And I gave a couple of suggestions. I gave the cup of tea, or the cup of coffee, or the drink of the morning, or a shower, or a bath, or whatever you might do as your regular routine. So the reason that I was suggesting the morning is that it's the beginning, yeah, it's the start of the day, it's kind of who we're going to be for the next few minutes or whatever. And if it's something we do every day, it can make the routine be more straightforward. So if our morning is always different, it makes it more difficult. But usually most people have a drink in the morning, or some people just go out and have a, step outside, whatever the weather, or just look outside for a moment or two. So either something that links us to the outdoors, something that links us to the senses. So, looking, listening, tasting, smelling. Those are the things that are going to be able to bring the life through a sense of mindfulness. So I have my drink, I've got a lemon in there, I've got ginger in there, I have a kind of little ritual, if you like. I've got to cut up the ginger, I've got to cut up the lemon, I'll get the smells before I even get the kettle on to get some warm water, to put it in there. I'll choose the cup that I want. It kind of feels like all I'm doing is having a drink in the morning to kind of arrive. But there's a whole process there that I can start to engage with through the senses. So a lot of what we're going to explore today is just a reminder of how important the senses are to bringing the world alive. Yeah, we kind of know that, but most of our day-to-day experience is in what Tara Brach calls a trance. Yeah. We're having a drink, we're doing something else, we're getting to somewhere else, we're planning something else, and then something else has happened to us in between. The phone's rang, a person's come through and said something else, and we're kind of walking away through and getting through, but we didn't even know we had a drink, really. We didn't really know that the morning had arrived. We didn't really know whether it was sun shining or raining. We kind of just get through and kind of wander around a little bit until something really kind of you have to wake up to. Yeah. So we're trying to get those wake up moments through our own focus, our own awareness, to just be more present, being more aware. And those things usually make us a little bit calmer, a little bit more joyful, a little bit more connected to where we are in that moment. So again, we might drift through to 11 o'clock and not know we're really fed up and we should have done something a little bit different with the day. Or we might have forgotten something really important because we just haven't paused, we haven't sat down, or we haven't had a reset moment. Yeah. Okay, so that shouldn't be, hopefully, too big a challenge for you for this week, to find something in the morning that ideally you do every day, but if not, do most days, that you could perhaps bring more alive. And Rick Hansen, who I'm following quite a lot through this program, gives 5 things that you might do to help create more of a mindful experience. So we're not talking like sitting for 20 minutes with your cup of tea. You can do, but it might be only, kind of like the first few sips. It might only be 20 seconds. We're talking micro here. We're talking making an impact, but we're not talking like lots and lots of minutes. So it's something that just brings you awake. So we just talk about the stages of lengthening, intensifying, expanding, freshening, and valuing. Yeah, so lengthening just means make 5 or 10 seconds longer than the normal experience. We're not talking huge here. You can make it longer, but it doesn't have to be. Intensify means turning up the volume, turn the volume of the experience up. So make it almost super real. Yeah, you're really tasting, if it's a drink, if you're in the shower, you're really feeling the water, you're feeling the warmth, you're feeling where it's touching the skin. You expand it. How does it really feel to be in this experience? How does it feel inside the body, in addition to all the 5 senses? What does it make you feel? Freshen it, just make it really interesting. So if every day you think, okay, I'm going to smell the lemon, and then the lemon doesn't become interesting anymore, change it. You don't do that bit. You really take the flavor in. You change the cup. You have it in a different room. You freshen the experience up, but it's still the experience. And then the last bit is you value it. Why you bother? You know, why bother doing that experience? Why bother having a mindfulness moment? You've got to feel and value that experience. So you've got to think, well, actually, this is just giving me something. It's giving me a pause. It's giving me a reset. It's making me connect to myself. It's making me feel just more real and more present. So I can then go on to my day in a better spirit, or what that might mean, feeling a little bit better, or feeling real. So it might be you've woken up and you don't feel very good, but at least you're real for that moment, and you've just acknowledged that. And it may be you need to do something different as a result of that. Yeah, you may need to talk to somebody, you may need to go to work later, you may need to cancel something, because you know actually you're not in a place that's going to get you somewhere that you need to be. Okay, so I've basically given you the very quick overview of where it's come from. I've mentioned the myth, one of the myths about we're all distracted, so how can we be mindful? We can do it through practice. I've talked a little bit about finding an experience and making it really sensory, really connecting to it. And the other thing I'm suggesting you may do if you ever have time is you do a little bit of kind of it's a bit like reflection. So how does my day start? Is this a good day for, is this always a good routine for me? Is there something I could do to add, to take away, to change, to make the start of my day better? Because if the start of the day is better, then I'm just stepping into the world a more aware, alive, connected, real person with a chance of making things go well. Yeah, so perhaps you could jot something down, you could write it down before you go to bed, so the next day set up a little bit differently. Maybe you got a perfect day, great, just acknowledge your perfect day. So that's the other thing you can do. I'm conscious I'm babbling at you, so I will go, I will write these down for you again in an email at the end. So that takes me to kind of like the second part of the session. So the second part is actually doing a longer mindfulness session. So again, people who've been coming a while will be more familiar with that. So you could call it just a meditation. You could just call it a longer mindfulness session. So, and again, you do it how you feel comfortable. You can sit or you can lie down if you wish to. So generally we sit, whether we sit on the floor or we sit on a chair. I'm on a chair. I prefer something where I can really feel the chair. So there's this cushion, but it's really fairly solid. I've got a back to the chair, so I know I can rest my back if I need to. Yeah, I might want to move before I kind of sit. If I sit, I want to know that I can be comfortable. So that means if I start getting uncomfortable, I move. So I might just do a little bit of a shimmy or a shake. I might rub my hands. I might need to move my neck. I might need to stand up. So that isn't a failed mindfulness session. It's a real one. I felt uncomfortable. I need to self-correct. So don't feel like, oh, I'm supposed to be really still and I'm not doing it right if I get up. Get up, do what makes you feel comfortable. That's much more mindful than sticking with it, whatever sticking with it might mean. So be comfortable, be settled, be stable if you can. So you know you're sitting on a chair or on the floor is good. And sometimes we just need things around us. We might need a tissue, we might need a drink, so we can go back to it if we feel dry and uncomfortable, if we get a cough. that kind of thing. So setting ourselves up right is, again, kind of respecting ourselves and respecting what we're doing. So if you get yourself into a position where you feel comfortable as much as you can stay on the screen or you can come off it if you wish to. It will be about 10, 12 minutes. And I've chosen that time to start off with because it's not too long. But there's also been done research in America with first responders, mainly firefighters. And they've kind of a group of mindfulness leaders have come in. And what they found is it's really difficult to find the time. But basically, on I think it was like an 8-week program, what they found that the sort of timing that people could do and that was still had quite a big impact on their life was 12 minutes. Yeah, more is better, less is fine, but 12 minutes seemed to be kind of a really good starting point to regularly have a longer practice. But we'll start with just seeing how that goes. So finding some comfort in your seat. I tend to close my eyes when I do a practice. Some people prefer that. Some people prefer to have their eyes just kind of slightly lowered so we're not too distracted. So you choose what you want to do with your eyes. And just for a moment, whether your eyes are open or your eyes are closed, and just being really present that you're sitting somewhere. Yeah, you're sitting on the floor, you're sitting on a seat. So that means making contact with your body for a moment. How you're sitting, where your contact points are with the chair. So you might feel the back of the chair or whatever supporting you. You might feel the seat of the chair quite strongly. That might be your bottom, might be your thighs, back of your thighs. And hopefully you have that sense of feeling weighted and supported by the chair. And you might have your feet on the floor or your legs on the floor if you're sitting directly on the floor. So just getting that sense of, yeah, I know where my body is. I know where I am in space. I know I'm safe. I know where the ground is. I know I'm supported. I know I'm present. I know I'm here. Yeah, simple as that. And your mind will drift around. Like, am I warming off? Have I just missed something? I've just heard something else. So those things are fine. Let them kind of come into your mind and then come back to ideally what I'm kind of suggesting is the focus. So the first focus is just being present to the body sitting. Simple as that. Could I be present to my body sitting? Could I feel comfortable in that? Could I let go in that experience? So could I let go of holding too much? So there's always going to be an interplay between feeling relaxed and comfortable and also feeling alert and alive. Yeah, so we'll rock between the two. Sometimes we'll be overly relaxed and a little bit like sleepy. Sometimes we'll be over alert and a little bit kind of searching for interest or ideas and things. So we're trying to find that happy place between relaxed and alert to the moment, that happy place. For most of us, we need some sort of sense of how the breath is. So if you can have a sense of the breath in the body, it might be the belly. If you need to put your hand on your belly because that feels more connecting and more calming, or just more, I know what's going on with my breath, then you can always put your hand on your belly. You might feel the breath in the belly, in the whole of the torso. You might feel it just through the nostrils. It doesn't matter. Wherever you feel the breath most alive, you come to next. You still can potentially feel the body and the breath at the same time. So you know you're present with yourself. We're coming back to the body, and then we'll take ourselves on another journey in the next few minutes. So we might feel the in-breath coming into the body, and we might feel the out-breath. So we generally experience the in-breath as a little bit of energy. And we generally feel the out-breath as a little bit of kind of release and letting go of any tension. So we might be drawn to the whole of the breath, the in-breath and the out-breath, to bring us balance. We might be drawn to the in-breath because we feel we just need that little bit of help to feel engaged and awake. We might feel we just want to rest and we need to settle and we need to release tension. We'll be a bit more interested in the out-breath. So just going with what feels right and making that contact with the breath. And then again, that just reminds us we're alive, living, moving, being. Yeah, we're never completely still. There's a breath that's subtly usually in the background. And we also know with the breath, it's something that changes all the time. It relates to our experience. If we're tense, it will go quicker, it'll be shallower. If we're relaxed, it will tend to be deeper. It will tend to settle us much more. And we also know that we can change how we breathe, moment to moment. We can lengthen the breath. So don't need to play with it, but just be interested in the breath and recognize its power. Power of it in the moment, the power to change it. Okay, so we're going to take this body and this breath on a little bit of imaginary journey. So again, some people find the imagination instantly kind of accessible. Some people find it more difficult. So just see how you go with it. And if you don't feel comfortable, you don't like it, you can't work with the imagination, come back and feel the body, come back and feel the breath. Just bring yourself back for a moment into yourself. Okay, so what I'm asking or suggesting that you picture is a garden. Most of us can relate to a garden. It might be a real garden. It might be your garden. It might be your garden as it is today. It might be a made-up garden. It might be one that resembles gardens that you've known through the past. It might be a garden that you've recently visited and you really love it. It might be a garden that arrives in spring because that's your favorite time. So just let that happen. Don't get worried you can't get it wrong. It's your garden. So it's just your experience and it can change. It can become more light. The season could change. The flowers could change. Something else could spring up. The lawn could shrink. The trees could grow. It's that imaginative. We've got a space in our head, in our mind, that we're just going to experience. So we're going to look at the garden. Maybe we're wandering through it. Maybe we're sitting and looking at it. But if we're in it, we've got all our senses available. We're outdoors. We've got the touch of the wind, the touch of the sun or the rain. Wherever the weather. The Christmas of the day. We've got a sense of our surroundings. We've got a sense of space. We've got our feet on the ground, whether we're walking or whether we're sitting. So we're experiencing the earth, which might be soft, it might be hard, it might change textures. We might want to sit on the earth directly to see the garden. We might have a viewpoint where we get more of the garden. We might have a secret garden where it's just us and it's really private. It might be a particular time of day when it's quiet and the birds are just waking. We've got sounds. We've got the sounds of the life wherever we are. So just bringing all that to life. The sights, the sounds, the smells, So the smell of the day might be damp, it might be dry, it might be a particular perfume of a flower or a mixture of flowers, it might be the grass. So we've got the smell. And we've got the touch. We can touch the flower, we can touch the grass, the dampness, the dryness. We can feel it. We can feel a different texture on the hands. We can get closer to something. We can really look at it in detail. We can be amazed by it. How does that happen? How's that flower come into being? Or that tree? It's been there for many years, maybe hundreds of years. How does that happen? And maybe there's a taste even that you can find. So in my garden, there's still literally raspberry. So I can still literally imagine going out and picking raspberry. So there might be fruit in the garden, might be an apple from the tree, cherry. Maybe not, yeah. So really, we're lengthening our experience. We're expanding it. Making it fresh and alive. We're being present. It's if it's real. It's real in the moment. We can really bring it alive. So if we can smell it, if we can see it, if we can hear it, if we can touch it, if we can taste it, how does that make us feel? How does it feel? Where does it feel in the body? Do we feel something in the chest? Do we feel something in the heart? Does it change our breath? Does it take our breath away? Does it make us feel really connected and calm? Do we want to stay? Do we want to wander? Do we want to be alone? Do we want to invite somebody into our garden? Do we want to laugh? Do we want to smile? Do we want to run through the garden? So just taking in, just for a few moments longer, that sense and senses, and that experience can be real for the moment. Even though we know it's not real, it can feel real. It can become alive. It can be felt in the body. It can impact on the breath. It can make us more present. It can bring us to a different place. Or none of the above. Yeah, there is no right or wrong. This might not be your day. This might not be your moment. This might not be your garden day. So as we start to come back to the real now, if you like, we can feel the feet again on the floor. You can feel the bottom on the chair or supported on the floor. We might be able to feel a sense of the whole body sitting. We might be able to get a sense of the whole body sitting and the whole body breathing. Even if it's for a fraction of a second, and then it's gone. And then it comes back. And then it's gone. And then it comes back. So tuning into the real life sounds now. You might have sounds in the house, you might have sounds in the room. You may have cut it down just to my voice. Yeah, so you might be wearing headphones or whatever, which is fine. But you might have some other sounds. You might have birds, sounds outside, you might have cars, you might have any other noises, sounds. If you've got your eyes closed, then flickering your eyes open and just being a bit more aware of your surroundings. If you've got an outside view, it would be great just to check that out. Yes, it's a bit misty here this morning, so the view is limited and distant for me. So we're just getting the bigger world in for a moment. Okay, so it's good to move because we've sat for a little while. So just have a kind of move on your seat. I'm just moving my bum back and forward, my knees forward and back. I'm moving my shoulders a little bit. I'm just having a wriggle, really. I might want to have a yawn. I might want to just have a little bit more of a stretch, like a morning stretch, if that feels nice for the body and feels more awake. So we're waking up for the second and third time. Okay, so that's broadly today's format. Yeah, so I've given a very little bit of a chat. I've given a little bit of introduction, and I've made some suggestions about your micro practices. Something to think about as well. Maybe journal, write, just give a little bit more reflection on. We've had a 15 minutes together, well, it was about 12 minutes, to just take ourselves through our senses into a different place, potentially. And that's how the sessions are going to go. We're going to have different themes, different micro practices, a little bit of a chat, and a little bit session, which will go a little bit longer. We'll extend it beyond the sort of 12 minutes as we go on. So the session that's been recorded is going to finish now. Thank you for your engagement. If you want to stay, or you have another few minutes and you have comments or questions, or just want to say hello to each other, that's great. So thank you very much. And I will see some of you next week. If you want to stay,